How much do you think you know about transport? We're all transport users. We're all drivers or passengers or cyclists. But the more you dig, the more you research transport issues, the more surprises you unearth. Here's a few questions taken from the introduction to a book I've been writing. Try to set aside the idea of a trick question, and if you don't know the answers, try to guess. So, first question, what happened to the duty on petrol between 2000 and 2012? Did it go up, down, by how much? Answer, it went down by 15%. What proportion of journeys are for commuting in Britain? In fact, it's only 1 in 7. Leisure and shopping are both more important generators of traffic. What proportion of Manchester's commuters do you think travel by tram? It's actually only 1.5%. And that's not because the system is failing. At many times, peak hours, the trams are packed to the gunnels and the system is currently being expanded. What proportion of households in Britain are made up of families? If we define a family as 2 adults and 1 or more dependent children. Only 1 in 5. And linked to that, what proportion of dwellings in England are flats? Again, only 1 in 5. All of those questions are taken from the introduction to Urban Transport Without the Hot Air, published in early 2015 by UIT Cambridge. The first part of that book is all about myth busting. It's all about taking apart some of those common misconceptions about transport. So the chapters have titles like The War on the Motorist and All We Need is Better Public Transport. I'd like to talk about just one of those issues from one of those chapters. Chapter 8 is called We Are Building Too Many Flats. This graph is taken from the census and it shows the distribution of households in England and Wales by size. As you can see, 2/3 of households have just 1 or 2 people, and that proportion has been growing. Over the next few years, this country is going to face a real challenge of how to house a growing population. These government projections show population topping 85 million by about 2080. Now, why am I talking about all this in the context of transport? Well, how we build, whether we attempt to house people like this or like this, makes a really big difference to how people travel. This chart is taken from a database of trip generation from new developments. And as we would expect, the largest, most spread out houses tend to generate quite a lot more traffic than the densest flats. But the difference is not proportional. So, to take the 2 extremes of this graph, the flats at one end are 16 times denser than the houses at the other end. And the houses generate more traffic, but only about 3 times as much traffic. So, to simplify a little bit, that means that in the areas where we're building the densest flats, the traffic is going to be 5 times worse. This is what I've called the paradox of intensification. A policy which is probably vital to solving transport problems in our cities. So urban intensification, building in higher density ways, that policy actually makes the problem worse in those neighbourhoods which are being intensified. So what do we do about it? Well, like most transport problems, there's no simple answer to that. You can read the book, or if you're really interested, why not come to UWE to find out more? Transport is full of surprises, and one of the things that we aim to do on all of our transport courses here is to give our students a different perspective, informed by some of our research. All of my colleagues are active researchers, and in the rest of this series, they're going to tell you about a few more of the surprising things that you may never have known about transport.